Caitlin Clark, all right? The Indiana Fever star was named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year earlier this week, and she took time to acknowledge that race played a role in her success this year. Here's a passage from the article in Times Magazine. Quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try."
Stephen A. Smith just pulled the emergency alarm. The hot take sirens are blaring, debates are exploding, and somewhere inside WNBA headquarters, tension is rising.
Why?
Because Caitlin Clark released a new commercial, and it didn't just make waves, it set the entire timeline on fire. Social media erupted, Stephen Yes blood pressure spiked, and suddenly everyone was shouting. What was in that ad? Why did it trigger such a reaction? And how did one commercial create this much chaos? Buckle up. This response is louder than a Game 7 argument on live TV, and no one saw it coming.
Player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that. That weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you?
The WNBA finally got what it spent decades asking for: attention, relevance, and real mainstream buzz. And somehow, instead of celebrating, the reaction felt like panic. Awkward silence. Side-eye. As if someone forgot to ask permission. Because the only way to explain it is this: a league that waited years to be noticed suddenly didn't know how to handle the spotlight. Caitlin Clark appeared in a commercial that felt like it belonged during the NBA Finals, not buried on a random Tuesday night, and that made people uncomfortable.
To admit the Caitlin Clark effect? Is this happening without Caitlin Clark? Without the popularity? Because we've seen what happened to the ratings when she was out for those 2-3 weeks. Remember that, right? Don't let me bring that up. Don't let me get some receipts now. When Caitlin Clark was out, the WNBA's popularity dissipated. That is a fact.
What should have been champagne popping in the commissioner's office reportedly turned into clenched jaws and corporate tension. Because nothing rattles an institution more than success it didn't carefully plan or control. When momentum arrives without approval, celebration turns into fear, and that's exactly what happened here.
Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier blasted WNBA leadership in her exit interview on Tuesday, accusing League Commissioner Kathy Engelbert of being, quote, negligent in her governance. A moment ago, Caitlin Clark spoke on the matter. Take a listen.
First of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years.
For years, the WNBA preached patience. Support now, recognition later. Believe today, relevance tomorrow. Then Caitlin Clark showed up and skipped the entire process. She didn't just bring ratings. She brought casual fans, major sponsors, and non-stop viral moments. She brought attention the league couldn't manufacture.
Conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said. And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I don't have the statement right directly in front of me, y'all.
Mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
She was disheartened.
I'm disheartened at the mischaracterization. What?
And even more rare, she brought something no marketing campaign could force. People arguing about women's basketball because they wanted to. That alone should have sparked a league-wide celebration. Instead, it reportedly sparked anger. As Stephen A. Smith has all but confirmed, Clark's latest commercial didn't just air. It dominated. And that's the real issue. She wasn't framed as part of a collective movement. She was framed as the main event, the center of gravity, the reason the camera exists. The outrage isn't about the commercial. It's about what it represents. A player who no longer needs the league's permission to be famous, profitable, or powerful. In professional sports, power is supposed to flow one direction. Caitlin Clark just reversed it.
That's not to throw shade on a product and act like it doesn't grow at all. It's not to say that there wasn't improvement and there wasn't an elevation in its popularity. It's just saying that it's on another dimension when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Do you know what the best thing that could happen for the WNBA is right now? Are you ready for this? If Caitlin Clark and the Fever win the championship. If that girl win the championship this early in her career.
Stephen A. Smith didn't arrive at this conclusion by accident. He's been watching the body language, the decisions, and the increasingly awkward energy coming from league leadership ever since draft night. What he's now making clear is that the WNBA isn't celebrating Caitlin Clark's rise, it's quietly resenting it. Because every new high-profile deal she signs exposes how little the league itself did to build her brand. Instead of looking like the architect of this moment, the WNBA comes off like a landlord who forgot to collect rent while the tenant turned the building into a luxury property. It reminds everyone that there's only one person driving the bus right now, and it's not the one sitting in the commissioner's chair. What makes this almost comical is how obvious the contrast has become between Clark's brand and the league's own marketing. Her commercials feel sleek, modern, and global, while the league's promotional efforts often feel slow, dated, and committee-made.
Black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing, end quote. You see why I had no problem with her being Times Athlete of the Year? You see why I said that she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her, no matter how much they try to deny it? There was resentment towards her, and here's why I said it was stupid. Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercials.
That gap isn't just embarrassing, it's infuriating for executives who are supposed to be the marketing experts in the room. When a sneaker brand or beverage company does a better job selling your sport than you do, it stops being coincidence and becomes an indictment. Stephen A. Smith has been especially direct about this because he recognizes the emotion for what it really is, insecurity disguised as authority. He's pointed out that the commissioner was hired to grow the business, not to compete with her own players for relevance. Yet here we are, watching leadership react as if personally offended by a rookie's success. That resentment doesn't stay confined to the boardroom. It leaks into the culture, the messaging, and eventually onto the court. When the tone at the top feels cold or dismissive, it sends a message across the league that Clark is not protected, not prioritized, and not entirely welcome at the center of attention.
And the person I call the golden goose of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, you understand, who is box office for the WNBA. Just look at the numbers, look at the ratings, look at everything. For her to come out and said, Fee said it all. She's letting you know that Nafisha Collier didn't lie, she didn't mince words, and she didn't misrepresent what the collective body of the league is feeling about this commissioner and her leadership.
Smith has connected those dots in a way that makes people uncomfortable because it suggests the hostility Clark faces on the court isn't random. It's enabled by leadership's attitude. Hard fouls, cheap shots, and borderline reckless plays begin to feel less like competition and more like sanctioned frustration. When discipline is slow and consequences are minimal, it creates the impression that the league isn't in a hurry to protect the player who makes them feel exposed. Her commercial doesn't sell the league logo, the shield, or the collective brand. It sells her unapologetically and effectively. That difference isn't just visual, it's ideological. It challenges the league's belief that it should control the narrative of success. Those decisions may be framed as fairness or tradition, but they also send a clear message to Clark. She wasn't supposed to move this fast. The problem is, the modern sports economy doesn't care about waiting lines. Brands pay for attention, not tenure.
Where the Indiana Fever announced that star Caitlin Clark will be out at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Clark reported some pain in her leg Saturday after the team's loss to the New York Liberty. She subsequently underwent an MRI and was diagnosed with the strain on Monday. Clark was the WNBA's Rookie of the Year last season and a first-team All-WNBA selection. So far, she's averaging 19 points and the league-leading 9.3 assists through 4 games this season. I could give a damn about
That disconnect between a slow-moving league office and a fast-moving commercial world sits at the center of this rage. While the WNBA debates messaging and optics, Clark's brand partners move at the speed of social media, turning moments into money before the league can even draft a press release. The commissioner is caught between these two worlds and, instead of adapting, appears to be bristling at the loss of control. The money only makes things more uncomfortable because it exposes financial realities the league would rather avoid. When fans see Clark starring in million-dollar campaigns while earning a modest rookie salary, it creates an immediate credibility problem. People start asking why a league that claims growth can't afford to pay the player driving that growth. And those aren't easy questions to answer without admitting structural failure. This resentment also reveals a scarcity mindset that has haunted the league for years, fighting over limited resources instead of expanding the pie. Clark isn't taking money from the WNBA. She's creating an entirely new economy around women's basketball, and that should be celebrated.
And 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward trending trajectory. It's improving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games? Are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly responsible.
Instead, the league seems more focused on how Clark's success makes it look than on how it could reshape its future. At the center of this tension is Kathy Engelbert, a commissioner hired as a business-minded executive who now finds herself outpaced by a rookie with a jump shot and a ponytail. Her public responses to controversy have often sounded stiff and evasive, reinforcing the perception that she's struggling to keep up with the moment. When asked about sensitive issues involving Clark, her corporate language has backfired, making her appear disconnected from both fans and reality. Stephen A. Smith has suggested this rage is rooted in fear, because Engelbert knows she's being evaluated by owners who care about numbers, not narratives. Those owners see sold-out arenas, rising ticket prices, and chartered flights that only became priorities once Clark arrived. Instead of elevating their approach, the reported reaction suggests bitterness that Clark is outshining the institution meant to elevate her. Jealousy is an uncomfortable word in professional sports, but it fits, and Stephen A. Smith isn't the only one saying it. When a commissioner appears threatened by her own star, it signals a serious imbalance of power.